Good evening. Is your brain going round in circles? I wonder how this idea may resonate with many of you. If you're like me, you may hear a worship song in church and the melody may be particularly catchy or attractive, or it may be that an old hymn, an old favourite is sung. And for the next 3 or 4 days, this tune goes round and round in your head on a loop. Even if you're waking up during the night, round and round it goes. And the same is true of news or ideas. When you receive an unexpected piece of news or hear of an unwelcome diagnosis, for instance, the thought of that goes round and round in your head, an action replay which you cannot switch off, no matter how hard you try. And this phenomenon is accentuated if there is uncertainty about the extent of the problem. How bad is it? Is this your Lord calling you home? How will it impact on your loved ones? You briefly stop thinking about it if someone talks to you about unrelated matters, but as soon as they stop, the record starts up again, the same insoluble questions, your brain seizing on the problem like a dog shaking a rat, as if you can extract an answer where none is on offer. Now, it's not all bad. If you fall in love, thoughts of your loved one circle round your head all the time too. That is the way that we're wired, you see. Anything good or bad or important, we just cannot set it aside, but we keep coming back to it again and again and again. What can we do with this? Can we control it? Is there some manoeuvre or other we can implement to give us peace as we see it? The Lord Jesus was perfect man. He was like us in all regards, in his humanity, yet without sin. But we do well to remember that he was wired like we are. And in his resurrection body, he is wired as we will be eternally. But as he is now, he has a fellow feeling with our infirmities. Because as it says in Hebrews 4, verses 14 to 16, therefore, since we have a great high priest who has gone through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way just as we are, yet was without sin. Let us then approach the throne of grace with confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. Now, I think that the Lord Jesus was affected by these circular thoughts too, just as we are. There were things that his mind kept coming back to, things that were dominant, major, important issues in his life. Remember, even in his formative years, Jesus was 12 at the time, when Mary and Joseph thought that they'd lost him when they were on the road back to Nazareth from Jerusalem, and when they hightailed it back to Jerusalem to look for him and found him in the temple, you can just imagine their anxiety. What were you thinking about, we might say. But remember Jesus' reply. Why were you searching for me? Didn't you know I had to be about my Father's business? And remember Jesus in John 6:38 saying, for I have come down from heaven not to do my will, but to do the will of him who sent me. And John 10:30, I and the Father are one. Luke 19:10, for the Son of Man came to seek and to save what was lost. Going round and round in Jesus' mind in a loop again and again were these three things. to advance God the Father's glory, to open the door of life to a lost world, and to provide a fountain for all sin and uncleanness by the sacrifice of himself. These were the conclusions of Bishop J.C. Ryle, that famous evangelical Church of England preacher. And even, maybe especially in the Garden of Gethsemane, at that time of unimaginable testing, what trumped all the distress was the "Nevertheless, not what I will, but what you will." Can we learn from Jesus? Now that is a rhetorical question. When our record is stuck in that groove, whatever our groove may be, let us focus on God the Father's glory and the sacrifice that Jesus made to restore us to right relationship with our Father as we trust in him alone for our salvation. The price has been paid. Calvary covers it all. And be reassured that we're in the same boat as David the psalmist in Psalm 139, where he says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." And as Paul says, take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ, who too had his recurring focus, the author of our salvation. Good night.